Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Sunday. I hope you're all doing good. I was out working till after dark again tonight, got my lawnmower put away, and I was getting ready to do my local stream, but I did postpone that till tomorrow. So make sure you guys are following me on locals. Link is down in the description. We're going to show some really cool stuff there that we don't do on YouTube. So make sure you check it out. All of you who are following me on locals, we'll see you over there tomorrow. So yeah, there are new Hearing Protection Act and Short Act updates. Now, I did a recent live stream on this topic, and yeah, I told you all I'm getting a little bit frustrated. Seemed to me that I was seeing some compromise, quite frankly, in there from gun rights groups. And that there are people out there that seem to think it would still be considered a win if they just reduce the tax for these NFA items down to zero, but keep them on the National Firearms Act, meaning all the different provisions that go with it, especially the registry. Now, I'm going to ask all of your opinion. For all of you in the live chat, shout out. Good to see you all. Since this is a late Sunday night stream, shout out to the replay crew and leave me a comment. What do you think about that scenario? See, if it goes down to a zero tax, it would still be on the registry. And it almost seems like a trap where all kinds of people would run out there and get all these NFA items with a free tax stamp. Because if it's free, it must be good. That seems to be the new American way, right? Long wink for all of you that are listening out there. And make the registry bigger and bigger and bigger. I also think that if the Republican-controlled Senate and House can take the tax down to zero, what would keep the Democrats from raising it to $1,000, $4,000, $5,000 in the future? These things worry me, and I know some of you disagree, and that's okay, but I think a lot of you do actually agree with me that, no, I'm sick and tired of compromising on the Second Amendment, and I'm also sick and tired of this two-party system, where in so many cases, they're just two sides of the same coin. And it's not okay if Republicans are screwing us on the 2A. And it's not okay if Democrats. It's not okay if anybody does. So that's my little preamble. That's where I'm at. And I want to know where all of you are at too. But there are updates. President Trump is now aware. He's now involved. And this concerns this Senate parliamentarian. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here for a while, you know I've been covering all of this. Go back and watch my stuff before about this parliamentarian. And yes, apparently we still live under a parliament of sorts in the U.S. because unless or until the GOP can grow a pair in Washington, D.C., they're literally letting this parliamentarian run this country right now in so many ways. If you think about it, like this is a huge budget reconciliation bill with tons of NFA repeal potentially in it. And so far, nobody's had the balls to either overrule her or fire her. Trump just made a social media post today, Sunday. I'm going to share that with you. Also, the GOA, which, hey, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I said, whoa, the only no compromise gun lobby. Look, I've always been a fan. But they put out a statement, and I covered this in a previous stream. Also, make sure you're following 2A Edu on X. I retweeted it and said, hey, man, this looks like a compromise to me. Now, look, I try to be a reasonable, rational guy and not just immediately just jump on the bandwagon of hating somebody. It's not that I want to throw hate the GOA's way, but I am kind of disappointed right now, and I hope that they can go back to, in my opinion, no compromise. And they've done some pushback because I think a lot of people are asking them what's up with this. And I'm going to go over their response with some of those updates as well. All right. Now, look, this is where it gets tough sometimes. And this is what, in my opinion, kind of separates the men from the boys, kind of tells you who your friends are. See, I've always had this policy in life where, of course, you call out your enemy. I mean, you have to, right? But that's like super easy to do. But sometimes you're in those tough situations where you got to call out your friends. Now, I'm not saying I know everything or that I'm perfect or I always have the best takes, but I will say one thing about this channel. I'm always honest with you. And even if I like you, or even if I like them, and I think that you're making a mistake, I mean, we can disagree on petty things, but if I think you're making a mistake or messing up that could be detrimental to me and mine and all my friends and family, I'm going to bring it to light. Let people think about it. So, yeah, man, I've been a big fan of the GOA for a long time. Friends with them. I'm not, but here's the thing, though. I do have a problem right now. And we'll see how they handle it in the end, because after I've liked something for a long time, I'm not quick to immediately throw the baby out with the bathwater. However, yes, I'm being critical of Gun Owners of America right now. I don't like some of their public messaging, and I'm going to read to you from a letter in a little bit that's just come out recently. I'm actually being critical of almost all of the gun rights groups right now. Yes, I'm being critical of the GOP on Capitol Hill, especially the leadership in the Senate, all the Rhinos in the Senate. And I'm not a Democrat. Sometimes somebody who's new comes in, and I like new viewers. I hope you like the channel. But they're like, this guy must be a Democrat because he's calling out the Republicans. No, I'm just not naive. I'm definitely not a Democrat. I'm actually like no political party at all. And there's actually like no political home in this world for a guy like me anymore, actually. But I know good people, and I know there's a lot of good people out there, and I know a lot of you might not see exactly eye to eye with me on everything, but you actually do get where I'm coming from. And for that, I get where you guys are coming from too. So here's what I demand. The full HPA or bust. The parliamentarian has come through and said, nope, it's not germane to the budget, meaning she says it's not a tax, it's not finance related. That's preposterous and literally requires the listener to be dumber than the speaker, and I reject it wholeheartedly. And yeah, this is a partisan hack in my opinion. She needs fired, literally fired. JD Vance can do it. All right, Trump knows about this now, all this stuff she's doing. I'm gonna just give me 1 second here. I just wanted to give you guys a little context, because to give people time to come in, and also because some people are totally new to all this. So anyone that's like, get to the point, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I've been posting some awesome YouTube shorts lately. Go watch those. And by the way, let me know in the chat and comments, do you like me throwing those little shorts? My friend got a program where he can take snippets out of my live streams, like my little one-liners that I do. And I've been posting those as shorts lately. Let me know if you want me to keep that up. And I'd like to thank my friend Ron for doing that for me and for the channel. He's just doing it for free, and he's snipping those little things and emailing them to me. So give me some feedback on that, and I'll keep those coming. Look, it's the full HPA and Short Act or bust. I'm going to lay it right on the line right now. I want all of it, or I want none of it, because A, I don't want to compromise, and like I said earlier tonight, I think this opens the doors for so much more. Now, I will tell you this as well. This is why I'm like, dude, all of the HP and Short Act, I want the whole bill to bust. There's lots of terrible stuff in this bill. No, I'm dead serious. A lot of the stuff that people voted for Trump on that was part of like the new Trump agenda, that's all been cut by the parliamentarian too. So keep in mind, guys, this whole bill, in my opinion, is completely garbage. But this is what it means to be a single issue voter. If we can get much of the NFA repealed, then I want the bill to pass. But only then. If we're not going to get a no compromise solution on NFA repeal, then I want the whole bill to be defeated. I hope Rand Paul votes it down. I hope Thomas Massie votes it down. I hope look, if they're not going to get rid of this parliamentarian or overruler, I hope the parliamentarian just nixes the whole bill. She may as well just fire all the Senate, and we can just start living under a parliamentary system as far as I'm concerned. Just like whatever at this point. I mean, you know what I'm saying though, right? I'm being a bit hyperbolic, but not much. I think some of you know what I'm trying to say right now. It's like, no. This bill is mostly garbage. It's going to put us trillions of dollars in debt. So much of the good stuff's already stripped. But this garbage bill will probably pass no matter what, so we need to get ours for once. The Second Amendment supporters, the Second Amendment single-issue voters, the gun owners. We need to actually win for once. Period. And I know there's compromise involved in politics. I get that. It's an omnibus bill. And there is times to compromise on things in life. Of course there are. All kinds of subjects, but not the Second Amendment. It literally says shall not be infringed, and I have no compromise in my mind for that, and it's just not part of the way I am. So I'm a very reasonable person with many things. My wife says, what would you like for dinner? I'm like, darling, you're an awesome cook. Just make whatever, and I'll enjoy it. And I literally always do. But when it comes to the Second Amendment, it's like, nope, I'm in, or you all can get out. So let's go over some of these updates here. So make sure you're following 2A Edu on X. I did repost this. I'm going to go with the breaking updates first, and then we'll get into this letter that came out that, again, is just reminding me of compromise, and I don't like it. So Trump came out earlier today with a Truth Social post. Now, we hadn't heard from Trump or Vance yet at all, so this is breaking news. I'm not saying Trump's going to save us on this. I'm not saying he's not going to for sure. Look, I don't have faith in any of these people. Let me say this. However, Trump does know, and the White House has posted, now keep this in mind, recently, that one of their main priorities with this omnibus bill, this budget reconciliation, so-called one big beautiful bill, there's too many names for this crap. It's repeal most of the NFA or screw you all. That's what I'm going to call the bill from now on, if that's all right with you. We hadn't heard him chime in yet, but the White House did say that one of their priorities is to pass the Hearing Protection Act and the Short Act. I've never seen a White House do that, and we've called Trump out more than anybody on this channel when he's screwed with the Second Amendment, and we're going to tell you the truth when he's doing something that seems like it's pretty decent for once. So this is Donald Trump's truth. He said, great Congressman Greg Steube is 100% correct. An unelected Senate staffer, parentheses, parliamentarian, should not be allowed to hurt the Republicans' bill. Wants many fantastic things out. No, exclamation point. Signed DJT. Yeah. Thomas Massie's chiming in, and this is where I said earlier where this one big beautiful bill kind of sucks. If we don't get the NFA stuff repealed that we want, screw all of it. You know, Thomas Massie's chiming in here. Made a post on X. You were promised the big beautiful bill would do these things, but it does not. It does not prohibit welfare for illegal aliens. It does not stop funding SEX changes for kids. It does not end registration of suppressors. It does not defund Planned Parenthood for 10 years. It does not implement the REINS Act, and it does not reduce the deficit. That's Thomas Massie, who's opposed to the bill. Voted no on it when it was in the House. Now we're going to come over to GOA's letter here. They wrote a long post about this. And they've been catching some heat because, as I covered earlier, they said, look, what we want is to overrule or fire the parliamentarian. We want it all repealed and removed. All of these sections we've been discussing, HPA SHORT Act. But if we can't get that, it would still be considered a win if we just get the tax down to zero. That's where I disagree with the GOA. But they are fighting hard in Washington, D.C. right now in the Capitol. Probably as hard as anybody, and I do commend them for that. I just don't want compromise gun rights groups. So I'm going to go through this letter, if you will. It's a post, but it's like, geez, how much do they have to pay a month on X to make a post this long? I'm only allowed a couple hundred letters on my post, but I digress. Attention gun owners. And this post is full of emojis. It's dramatic. It's everything else. GOA is doing everything in our power to fight a two-front battle to restore your gun rights on the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, as the Senate is moving revised $0 tax language. Okay, so that part is actually getting moved right now. They have moved this One Big Beautiful Bill in the Senate on to what's called debate. This is where senators all day, they talk for a long time, and they're trying to slow this down, and a lot of senators are out and out trying to stop this. Look, some Democrats are trying to stop it because they hate everything we stand for, because they hate guns so much. Hopefully there's some Republicans trying to stop it because they want the real NFA repeal items back in. But at the end of the day, it has moved one step closer to passing. From what I understand, there is still time to rectify this. Not much time yet. And I'm not even being optimistic, but there's still time technically. So I wanted to bring you up to speed. as the Senate is moving. So it's moving as we speak through down the line. This is all supposed to happen real quick. Trump wants this on his desk by the 4th of July. GOA is still fighting to fully repeal the NFA excise tax on silencers and short-barreled firearms and to eliminate federal gun registration. But there's a lot of misinformation and bad strategy floating around, which we must correct. Ooh. Okay, so they're I think they're about to give some of us one in the teeth that were questioning them the other day. I think. Wow. I'm reading this for the first time. I knew it was here, but I wanted to react to it raw online. Number 1. Foremost, GOA is fighting the parliamentarian's ruling. Elizabeth McDonough should be fired. Well, I agree with that, yeah. And if Leader Thune will not fire her, her non-binding advice should be ignored and overruled by Senate President at J.D. Vance or President pro tempore Chuck Grassley. Okay, this is the first I've heard of this. I guess Chuck Grassley now can stop this too. I'm okay. I wish they would have told us this a few days ago. I've done quite a bit of research on this. I'm going to assume this is true, but don't take my word for it. I was reading who can override the parliamentarian, and I did not see, well, I guess if he's holding the gavel, he can. So maybe he could. But look, Chuck Grassley can only overrule the parliamentarian as far as I'm concerned if Leader Thune lets him. That's my take on that. GOA is pressing for both of these strategies in the Senate, and all through this weekend, we have been rallying the grassroots with alerts urging gun owners to demand that their senators support these outcomes. Okay, and I do appreciate that activism. If the parliamentarian is fired, or if the Senate president or President pro tem begin overruling the parliamentarian, gun owners of America and our allies will work to reinsert the full NFA repeal language into the bill. Okay, we're good so far, but then we go on. However, if none of these elected officials will stand up to this unelected bureaucrat, then her ruling will unfortunately stand. Here's big point number 2. In the interim, while the parliamentarian's outrageous ruling stands, we are also using the Senate rules to gut the NFA as much as possible. This is the part that I want to know if you guys think is a compromise. Given my opinion on this a couple times, you tell me. Gun owners will remember that when the fight was in the House, we demanded that representatives go further than just reducing the tax to $0. We worked for a drastic gutting of the NFA, and we were successful. Unfortunately, the parliamentarian's ruling severely limits that victory. And that's why, even while we still work to overturn her ruling, we are also trying to lessen the amount of infringement that gun owners suffer to the maximum extent allowable under the rules and precedents of the Senate. This would be the case if the $200 tax is reduced to $0. We will keep you posted as the birdbath continues. Now, they're really wording this a lot different now, so, But in that previous post I read literally just 2 nights ago, 48 hours ago, GOA did say they would consider this to be a win. I literally said that. If it just got reduced to $0, but they all stayed on the NFA. This continues. Big X emoji, like this red X. Gun owners must realize that there is no alternative to the above strategy. Actually, there is. No, I'm being serious. There is. It's more like, screw you all, screw all of you, F you, I won't do what you tell me. And fly your pirate flag. Hey, you all do your own thing. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying, dude, there's always other options. I mean, there's all kinds of different options. People can just say whatever. And just I guess, just not even care anymore and get so disillusioned to this whole system. Let the enemy that we actually know come in and let the Democrats just come everything and just ban it all. I don't want that. I'm just saying that's an option. Realize that there's no alternative to the above strategy, and there is no third, quote, Crenshaw option for gun owners. Rep Crenshaw. I'm not a fan of Rep Crenshaw. He says, this says that Rep Dan Crenshaw has come up with a great strategy for his own language dealing with the tranny, I'm on YouTube, transmission for all you auto mechanics issue. But This will not apply to the NFA. Here's why. This is starting to sound like political speak. I mean, what do you guys think? This is starting to sound like, I'm not even done reading this yet, but this letter is starting to sound like something a politician would write. I mean, this sounds like someone that's like, when you feel the heat, you see the light. Oh, wait, that's another one of their phrases they use. No, this is good, guys. Look, I'm not enemies of the GOA, but I want to put some more heat on them because this is a little milquetoast, and this is sounding like word salad now. Why are you bringing Crenshaw and all this? Unfortunately, and I hate it, I've spent a lot of time around politicos. I've spent a lot of time behind the curtains. I know a lot about how this process works. And this is just reminding me of like a used car lot, but I'll keep going. At Rep. Dan Crenshaw has come up with a great strategy, blah, blah, blah. Rep. Crenshaw's strategy is built on the hope that Democrats will not object to his language. Now, this has nothing to do with NFA items, keep in mind, or Short Act or HPA. It's just literally like, dude, don't look at us over here with this letter we wrote saying zero tax is a win. Now we're going to bring Dan Crenshaw and his transmissions, like car and truck transmissions. You know what I mean, right? Now we're going to talk about all this. Is getting really weird right now, but maybe they're heading somewhere with this. Let's keep reading. Rep. Crenshaw's strategy is built on the hope that Democrats will not object to his language, and that makes this a win-win situation for him, despite the parliamentarian's ruling. Crenshaw is betting the Democrats are afraid to touch the transmission issue because it will bring them bad publicity. So he is hoping that his language can sail under the radar without Democrats raising a point of order against it under the Byrd Rule, a tactic that allows any senator to strike non-budgetary language from a budget reconciliation bill. Alternatively, he knows if Democrats raise the point of order and defeat his language, that they'll receive a public backlash. This strategy will not work for the NFA. There is no situation where the Democrats will not raise a point of order against our language, as Senator Schumer has even promised to fight our language himself. So, pushing forward without removing or overruling the parliamentarian guarantees that gun owners will lose everything and be left with nothing. And then another big emoji. Likewise, there is no way that 53 Republicans can vote to overrule the parliamentarian under the rules of the Senate. Only Senate President Vance or President Pro Tem Grassley can overrule the parliamentarian by ignoring her non-binding advice, which is exactly what GOA has been pushing for. And I'm pushing for that too. Without the help of the Senate President or President Pro Tem, it will require 60 votes to waive or bypass the Byrd Rule for our NFA repeal language. That would essentially force gun owners to overcome the equivalent of a filibuster, which is exactly what we are trying to avoid. 3, one last thing. What about the zero tax for suppressors and short-barreled firearms? There are 2 scenarios. A, first, if the parliamentarian finds a $0 tax for suppressors and short-barreled rifles to be compliant with the Byrd Act, see, she hasn't even ruled that that's compliant yet. She could just shoot all this down still. Keep that in mind. If none of these Republicans grow a pair and shoot her down, that is, then Senate Schumer will have lost all of his leverage. He can object to the provision, but he would need 60 votes to get the NFA tax repeal stricken from the bill. No, that's not repeal, GOA. That's reducing it to 0, because if you repeal the section, then it repeals it. But this is not. This is word. This is the way this is worded is more complicated than I'd prefer. B, second, if the parliamentarian finds the $0 tax out of order, then gun owners will get absolutely nothing. That's where my money's at if I had to bet. It ain't what I want. But Trump is aware, though, of this. We'll see. Do you think Trump's going to save us all? Let me know. Then gun owners will get absolutely nothing because the Senate GOP will need to corral the 60 votes to overrule her. That won't happen. If this happens, we will clearly use this second hyperpartisan ruling as even more evidence that the parliamentarian is not performing her job unbiasedly and needs to be fired. Okay, now this is where they're going to disagree with me. Maybe they disagree with you. Maybe you agree. The zero tax is clearly not everything we wanted. It's not what I was worried about at all, by the way. Like, the tax wasn't the issue. I mean, it is the issue, but the money was not the main issue compared to all of the other draconian aspects of the NFA. I mean, it's all an issue, to be fair. Trust me. But this was not enough of an issue compared to all the other crap, okay? The $0 tax is clearly not everything we wanted, but it is not a compromise. Oh, it's not? Okay, good. Because I like a no compromise. Okay, hold on. Because it would be repealing existing infringements on gun owners. Okay, wait, hold on a minute. If somebody's infringing on a scale of 1 to 10, okay, and you lessen it by removing it down to a 5, this is not considered a compromise because it's repealing existing infringements. I'm sorry, but this is requiring the listener to be dumber than the speaker. No. This is using a logical fallacy. Because 2 does not equal 4, then that must mean 2 must equal 3? No, you don't just get to pick. Look, let me read this again. Because it would be repealing existing infringements, it's not a compromise. No. There's millions of versions of compromise. I just have to disagree with this, guys. Let me read this one more time. The $0 tax is clearly not everything we wanted. I agree with that part, full stop. Comma, but, you know what they say when they say comma, but, it is not a compromise because it would be repealing existing infringements on gun owners. Yes, we want this much repealed. If you only repeal this much, in my opinion, my understanding of the English language, that is the definition of a compromise. And some of you guys might think a compromise is the best bet. Good. Go on with that. I'm just saying, like, no. I'm a single issue voter. I'm a 2A absolutist. Give me all of it. Or at this point, I'd rather the whole bill fail, every last bit of it, all of it. The whole big, beautiful bill fail. Just start over. We can just run with the country shut down for a long time, and I guarantee you our life would be a lot better. I can promise you that. Not only that, it would serve to both proliferate NFA firearms under the common use test and give us greater leverage to challenge the NFA in court. Okay, that is true in a bubble, but I actually don't buy that for $1 either, because it does two things. First of all, you guys really think the Supreme Court's going to go over and overrule the NFA anytime soon? Probably not. Brett Kavanaugh doesn't even want to look at AWBs for semi-autos until he lets it fester and lets a lot of other people's lives get ruined for quite some time. That's what he just said in the Supreme Court the other day. Now, this is not only going to proliferate NFA firearms under common use, it's going to proliferate more and more NFA items on the registry. I hope the GOA reminds us of that this will also bolster the registry to the moon and let them know where all of these guns are at, because registration has always led to confiscation. And if you look at history as a predictor of the future, it probably will someday again. So while what they said isn't out and out false, they left out the other side of it. That, yeah, this is more and more of them getting registered, because a lot of people will gladly. This was like that pistol brace rule. Oh, pistol braces are a short barrel rifle, but we'll give you a free tax stamp. I rejected that. I think most of you did too. It's like, yeah, I don't want to walk into a free mousetrap. I don't want a free train ride to a camp, if you know what I mean. Let me continue. This isn't over yet. After all, the NFA tax was only considered legal by the Supreme Court in 1937 because it was determined to be a tax. Now, that is true, because that's why the parliamentarian's totally out of line here, obviously. And I do agree with GOA's main point that the parliamentarian needs overruled or fired. Duh. Just don't sugarcoat that you're compromising. If you want to compromise, compromise. That's fine. If that's what you want to do, it's just not fine with me, and I'm not going to agree with it. Does that make sense? And I don't mean it's fine. I just mean, like, look, you're allowed to do your thing. I'm not a tyrant. I don't go around telling everybody what they have to think or what they have to say, but I can speak for myself. But at least tell me what it is. Say, look, guys, look, we're going for all or nothing, but if we don't get all, we will actually compromise. Just tell people that, and they can all decide on their own. And I'm not even saying I'm going to decide to completely hate the GOA if they admit they're compromising. I don't know yet. I'll have to think about it. They've done a lot of stuff with really good lawsuits. They are fighting harder than anybody, as far as I can tell, on Capitol Hill to get all this pushed through. And for that, I definitely commend them. but just shoot it to me a little bit more straight. You know, I'm not the best at hitting curveballs. And then there's just something where you start getting a little bit too wordy with things, and it just doesn't quite feel right. You know what I mean? And this is kind of, I don't know why, but something about all this is getting under my skin just a little bit. After all, the NFA tax was only considered legal by the Supreme Court in 1937 because it was determined to be a tax. Yes, if Congress does away with the tax, there's no longer a legal restriction under SCOTUS precedent, and that throws the entire NFA into jeopardy, which is something we would champion. Yeah, and that could be a good future lawsuit, but that's years and years and years from now. By the time we'd even have a chance of the Supreme Court hearing that, the Dems will be back in charge. Because I think a lot of stuff's going to flip in the midterms, because it pretty much almost always does. That's how this just works. Plus, a lot of gun owners are real disenchanted right now, you know. But the Dems could be back in and raise the tax stamp to $5,000 by then. Look, if they can take the tax stamp down to zero, right? If these here can, then why couldn't the next ones put it up to $500, $1,000? I've never seen any of these gun rights groups bringing that up. I know a lot of their comment sections, there are tons of people bringing that point up. If they could refute it, I bet you they would. You know what I mean? Because they're refuting all kinds of stuff in here. But for some reason, they won't talk about that. Now, this is my personal opinion, but I'm curious if they can't refute that. Now, if I'm wrong, I'd like to know. If me and like thousands of people online that are guessing, look, if you just reduce the tax down to zero and don't get rid of it, what keeps the next guys from jumping the tax up to $4 or $5 grand? I want to be wrong on that, and I hope that couldn't happen. I really do. So please come out here, since you're refuting everything else. Refute that theory that all of us have. It would do us a big favor. Maybe they can't refute it. Maybe they can. We'll have to see. Gun Owners of America is proud of the work we have done. And they have done a lot of good work lobbying Congress on this, guys, to try to get it through. And I do want to, one more time, to be fair, the GOA's top priority is to just repeal all of it. Okay. Gun Owners of America is proud of the work we have done, proud of our grassroots activists who forced Congress to fight for the full repeal of suppressors and short-barrel firearms from the NFA. Thank you, GOA, if you're listening to that. I just disagree with the other half of your plan. From the NFA, furious with the Senate parliamentarian and ready to keep fighting on all fronts to gut this archaic gun control law. So there's the updates right now. Let me check the chat real quick here, and I'm going to give you a couple other scenarios that are going on. All right. I did get a couple super chats. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. G23 reviews. What's happening, man? Shout out to the G23 Reviews channel. $5. He says, unless we get the full HPA with a third section, dude, we need section 3 of the HPA, or it makes silencers, suppressors illegal in like 16 states where they're actually legal now. You won't even be able to, in a lot of these states, get one at all for any type of money. So we do need section 3 as well. Keep that in mind. Now, Michigan's one of those states that's going to get boned pretty good on this if it passes without section 3. But look, I will take that as a win if we get them removed from the NFA. That's a big deal, even if it does screw my state over a little bit, or a lot. But we just need section 3 to pass too. And the SBS, SBI removed, it's a compromise. Yeah, unless we get all of it, it's a compromise. That's in his humble opinion. Yeah. Buddha 155 with a $10 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. No compromise! Exclamation point. 0% tax will still create a registry, and that's unconstitutional. I agree. The permission slip, crossing state lines, difficulty loaning these firearms to friends or family. You know, you just can't like leave your NFA item with anybody, right? Now, some people have a trust, some people don't. No, you shouldn't need to get lawyers and write legal documents to exercise a natural, constitutionally protected, God-given right. There's so many ways you can get criminalized owning an NFA item. That registry's an SOB, though. Man, that's bad. Now, the short barrel rifles, shotguns, any other weapons, those need permission slips before you can cross state lines. I happen to live like 15, 20 minutes away from Ohio. Like, when you live that close to another state, and those of you who live close to another state, chime in the chat or the comments if you're watching on replay. It's not like a big deal at all just to freely go back and forth between states when you live on the edge of them. You can find yourself in real big trouble with some of these NFA items. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You live on a border. You know, sometimes you live in the middle of a really big state, and that's just kind of your world for the most part, and I get it. But you live right on the line there. Ooh, don't go down the wrong dirt road. A construction crew's there, and they make you detour to get to your house. You could dip into another state. You guys are thinking of this now, right? There's so many traps and pitfalls with this NFA, and anytime you mess up at all, and if it's an NFA item, you're facing prison. Everything to do with this is felonies, 6-figure fines, 10 years in prison. It's really, really heavy duty stuff. So Trump's involved. Now, I want to say involved, asterisk. He's not come out and said, you must pass the full Short Hearing Protection Act directly. However, for the first time, this is just breaking today, Trump is aware and he's calling out the Senate parliamentarian. All right. Also, concurrently, the White House official website is listing the Hearing Protection Act and Short Act as part of their key goals, their key platform for this omnibus budget reconciliation package. So when you hear people like Trump starting to kind of come to light now, getting a little spicy and say, no, this parliamentarian is not allowed to nix all these things from my one big beautiful bill, as he calls it, that would likely mean that he's wanting to put a lot of pressure on or maybe do something to overturn this parliamentarian or fire and then bring in his main agenda points. Look, I'm not trying to give you guys false hope at all. I don't even have much hope at all. I really don't. Okay, I gave my prediction over a month ago on all this. Don't just think this is going to pass. I'm not trying to be so black-pilled that I just want to like completely give up. But, dude, I'm pretty disheartened about all this if you want to know the truth. I'm barely staying in this mentally. I'm close to just basically unsubscribing from it all and just going on with my life and saying whatever. I wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then, like that Toby Keith song says. You know what I'm saying? But this is a Second Amendment channel, and we're here to help all of you fight like hell to save the Second Amendment to prevent us from ever becoming a communist country. This technically still is a fight. It's not over yet. Not looking good. It's the bottom of the ninth. We're down by 3 runs. We don't have any runners on base. And there's 2 strikes on us and no balls. You know what I mean? And our number 9 hitter's up. And they've got the best closer in the whole league up right now on the pitcher's mound. That's where I'd put us. Now, I've watched baseball for a long time till it got so woke and they started flying all these weird colored flags and stuff. I got disenchanted with that too. But I grew up watching baseball. I have seen teams come back in that exact scenario I just told you. You know what I mean? It ain't over till the fat lady sings. I'm not going to be able to sing for you all. I might be fat, but I'm not a lady. You know, but where do you guys think we're at with this? So as we speak, the Senate is debating this bill. As of right now, the language is what I'm going to call, and I don't care what anyone else says. I'm just going to call it like I see it. This is the compromise. Right now, it's just removing the tax down to 0 for the short barrels, for the suppressors. All right. And the Senate parliamentarian may actually just nuke that too. Some people think it's still a bit of a win, right? Some people think it's still a bit of a win if we just get it down to 0. What do you think about that? There is still time, technically, not much time at all, though. Like, not much. This stuff's all going to be breaking in the middle of the night, just so you all know, this next week. That's how this works. There is still a chance the parliamentarian could get overruled or fired. And then this original language could be put back in. Then it would have to not be overruled by the new parliamentarian if there was a firing. If it was overruled, then I guess it could just get put back in. There is also the Senate bill has to go back to the House. If the House could grow a pair, and there's a lot of, I will say this, there are a lot of Republican reps coming in there calling out the Senate right now, saying overrule or fire this parliamentarian. The House does not have to just concur with the Senate changes. Remember, the House did pass at least the Hearing Protection Act portion. All right. Not Section 3, which we need, but they did pass the just removing silencers or suppressors, whatever you want to call them, from the NFA. They can say, no, that was in our version. We don't accept your version. Let's take it to conference. Let's kick it back to you. That can happen in the House still. Then it makes it even more complicated. There's a few Trump cards that could still happen, including Trump himself. Does Trump technically have the authority to fire the parliamentarian? No, but he's the president. If he tells J.D. Vance to do it, I'm willing to bet he probably would. If he tells Thune to do it, I'm willing to bet he probably would. That's just how this stuff works. When the big man says jump, these people say, how high? Yeah, I've been reporting on that, man. Thune's already said, and he's been saying he wasn't going to fire the parliamentarian. Now, unless Trump tells him he needs to, or Vance tells him, So you see, you are right on that. Thune's not going to fire anybody unless he's told that he has to. But they can just overrule her too. Keep in mind, there's overrule. Now I'm just kind of finding out today that I guess apparently Chuck Grassley can overrule. See, I think he can only overrule if he holds the gavel, if Thune lets him. I believe that's how that works, because President Pro Tem, it means like a temporary, in the leave of the main person, you come in and fill in. We see that in state levels of politics and all that too. Like, I'll give you an example. In the Michigan House of Representatives, Matt Hall is the Speaker of the House. You typically see a lady, and she's my friend, and she's very pro-Second Amendment, named Rochelle Smith. She's the Speaker Pro Tem. She generally holds the gavel up there. She acts as though she's the Speaker of the House in that capacity when she's presiding over, but she's not actually the Speaker of the House. It's the same thing with the Pro Tem Grassley. I believe he only has the authority if the rank and file above him, so we're talking Thune and then ultimately Vance, if they let him. I believe, but maybe not. Maybe it is Chuck Grassley alone's prerogative where he can just overrule her on his own. I'm not 100% sure on that. I definitely like to let you guys know when I'm not 100% sure. The Chuck Grassley thing is a bit of a wild card, okay? Now, here's what I think. This is where we're not going to stay on too much longer, guys. If you don't mind, can I be a little more sinister and tell you what I really think's going on now? And what's been going on? And was the whole plan from the whole time? Is that all right? It's the parliamentarian. Sure it is. Yeah, right. You know what it really, really is? Look, it just gets in my cross so much because we fought the Revolutionary War to get away from the British Parliament. And like Independence Day is coming up here in a couple days, and it just stings to think that we still have somebody called the parliamentarian that's stopping everything. But here's the problem. Yeah, she's stopping it on its face, of course. But if you just look one page deeper, this was the plan the whole time. There's a bunch of rhinos in the Senate that are Republicans. If you go over to my X feed, look at that post that I still have posted today. And it's pinned to the very top. And that's me calling out John Cornyn from Texas. And when you want to know what a rhino, an anti-2A rhino is, look no further than the great state of Texas. Look, I love so many people from Texas, but your senior senator is garbage on the 2A. He's terrible. People like him and many others, they were never going to let this through because they hate the Second Amendment. They hate the plebes and people like you and people like me. And it's actually the Republicans in the Senate that are screwing us, and they just want to use this parliamentarian as a scapegoat. Now, I can't prove this, And this is only in my opinion. But I would not be surprised, and if I were a betting man, I would even bet that there was a whole bunch of Republicans lining up in the back room with this parliamentarian, with Chuck Schumer and all the rest of them, right? After they're all done giving each other a reach around or whatever these pervs are up to in Washington, D.C. Look, this is a sick, twisted place. This is one of the most evil places in this whole world. And they're the ones that think they can control our guns. But I digress. After they're done doing whatever, stuff you wouldn't even want to talk about that they probably do up there, in my opinion. But then they say, yeah, parliamentarian, wink, long wink. You'll rule against this, if you know what I mean. Something like that. Dude, because here's the thing. This Republican majority could overrule that parliamentarian so fast the curlers would come out of her hair. She'd go, whoa. I mean, she looked like she was zapped by lightning. Her hair would be, oh, that's how fast they could. Dude, literally. All they literally have to say is overruled now. You're done. Or you're fired. No, these people knew exactly what they were doing. Now they can all still stand there and be like, no, we're pro Second Amendment. If it had come up to the final floor vote, we would have all voted for it. And you're sitting there thinking, yeah, right. You know what I mean? We would have voted for it. Vote for us because we're pro Second Amendment. But the parliamentarian screwed you. And then you think to yourself, well, who the heck's this parliamentarian? How do I vote her out? I know a lot of you are thinking that because a lot of my viewers have said, who made this decision? And when are they up for re-election again? Yeah, they're not up for re-election again. They're not ever up for re-election. Dude, the king doesn't get elected. You know that, right? No, this is like divine providence that puts her in there. Dude, this is like from the deep state swamp of the Barack Hussein Obama administration with Harry Reid being the Senate Majority Leader. Yeah, that's where this kind of swamp creature comes from. You can't vote her out. You really think you can vote royalty out? And it's just a sucky thing, man. And I'm not making fun of my friends that ask that question, but they're like, well, who do we vote for? How do we vote this person out that's screwing us right now? Well, you can try to vote all your Republican senators out, but here's the problem. You vote them out and get a Democrat. They're not pro 2A either. What do? Nobody votes in primaries. Good luck with that. That is the best solution, actually. Primary all these rhinos. Most of them are 150 years old anyways. Need to go to the assisted living facility. Nobody votes in primaries. They don't like them. Every time I do a video on this channel talking about primaries, look, the Michigan Speaker of the House, Matt Hall, voted for gun control last session. I did something that takes a lot of balls, all right? Being kind of sort of the largest 2A voice in the state of Michigan, if you think about it. If that's not fair, tell me. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying. You can lose a lot of access to people doing what I did, but I don't care. And I still am friends with a lot of the good 2A fighters that are in the Michigan House and Senate, and there are some really good ones there. I want to make that clear. I had a fellow named Rich Cutshaw that was primarying Matt Hall, who would become Speaker of the House, because I thought Rich Cutshaw would be better on the Second Amendment. Now, the true Second Amendment fighters that are in the Michigan legislature, they're still my friends. We're better friends. Now, but there are some good ones out there on the state level. And Washington, D.C., there's a few good ones too. A few, but not many. So trust me, I believe in primaries more than anybody, but here's the problem. Every time I talk about primaries, people unsub from the channel, they get all ticked off at me. See, people think this is just like, oh, it's like sports and you're just rooting for your favorite player and your favorite team. Now, not you guys, just the general people out there. I think most of you actually get it. No, dude, I'm tired of this blue versus red crap. What is this? Going back to the 90s, the Crips versus the Bloods? Dude, I was never into that kind of stuff. And I'm not into blue versus red either. Now, the few good ones that are pro 2A defenders and fighters do usually happen to be Republican. That's true. I'm going to say it again because some people somehow get the wrong impression of me. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. Like, not at all. I'm not a Republican either, though. Like, not at all, actually. I do have some good friends that are Republicans. And from time to time, I do tend to vote Republican because there are some good ones, but I'm not going to vote anymore. I'm done with this crap just because there's an R. I'll tell you guys that. I'm going to decide before the next elections if I'm ever going to vote again. Is that fair? I know this sounds very shocking from this channel, but I'm so disenchanted with all this BS, how the Republicans, now, not every individual rep, but just the general body of the Michigan House of Representatives, Judiciary Chair Sarah Lightner, Speaker of the House Matt Hall, doing nothing to move forward. Red flag repeal, gun control repeal, not even advancing it at all. But the Democrat-controlled Senate, they're still advancing gun control. Now, I'm so disenchanted with that. What we see happening on Capitol Hill in D.C. with all this bullcrap, with this NFA repeal. Look, I'm going to wait and see what happens. It's not over yet. It's the bottom of the ninth, 2 strikes, 2 outs. You're down by 3 runs. We could pull this off still, and I hope we do. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, I haven't decided yet. And it's such a big choice, I'm going to think about it for a little while. I don't know if I'll ever go vote again. I don't know, okay? But if I do, I'm just going to go down and just maybe vote for 1 or 2 on that whole ballot. Like if I know a couple of my county commissioners are, my county commissioner's a good dude, which he is, my friend Jay Heinzerling. By the way, real quick straw poll, who'd like me to have my county commissioner on? My county commissioner is actually a really cool dude. Like, would that be boring, like county commissioner as a live stream guest? Or is it just like who the person is? Because he's actually like a really cool dude. So, but no, like county commissioner, I'd still probably want to go vote for him if I decide to vote again. He's a good dude. And there is Second Amendment stuff on the line on the basic level, and he's 100% pro 2A. Township trustee. Yeah, man, I'm good friends with one of my township trustees, Chris Collins. He's like 100% pro 2A, so maybe I should go vote for that. The clerk, Kyle Bryant, he's really good on the Second Amendment. He's a good dude. Maybe I should go vote for him. I mean, I'm talking township level right now. My favorite state representative, Jamie Thompson, look, she's getting ready to take a tough vote to help us with privacy coming up here any day now, all right? Maybe I should go vote for her and then just ignore like Congress and all that. I'm thinking about all these things. I mean, I guess maybe there's still reasons to go vote for local people because I can tell you who some of these people are. They're kind of like my neighbors. You know what I'm saying? Dude, county commissioner, Jay Heinzerling, he's like a mile and a half away from my house, man. Like as what like literally like his cousins were next door neighbors when I grew up. So like I grew up like playing with his cousins, and a few times we were playing in the backyard when there was like a family get together. Like those kind of people can still be good that are politicians and they're on the ballot, right? But just to be honest, I'm just thinking about it right now though. Like, I can't be the only one, right? And I'm not, you guys heard what I said, right? I'm not telling all of you just to stop voting. I never said that. But I'm literally like thinking about it, whether I'll ever even vote again at all. And then if I were to, just the way I'm thinking right now, it'd probably just be for state and local. I didn't give you a final answer. I'm just... Some of you might agree with me right now. Some of you might not. I just don't know. Pretty disenchanting. I hear you, MNNC, except for here's where we disagree. No vote is -1 for us and +1 for Marxists. No, look. I know there's math, but here's the thing. Who is us, though? And you might be new to the channel, and if you are, welcome. Maybe you don't watch all my streams, which is fine, too. But I actually just talked about this at length in my live stream Friday night. Who are we, though? Who is us, though? Because, look, man, like I'm all for, like, us and we, like all of you awesome people I see in the chat tonight. Like, dude, we all get it. Like, us, like, I'm with you guys. But now let's move this over to, like, just like the Republican Party generically. Now, my state representative, Jamie Thompson, she's a Republican. She's with me. She's with us. County Commissioner Jay Heinzerling, he's with me, he's with us. But just because there's an R behind their name and they're this rhino that's actually selling us up the river worse than a darn Democrat, do we really consider them part of we, though? Are they really part of us, though? And it's an honest question. And look, man, I'm not trying to tick you off, but it's like I do agree with you, but I don't know who us is. And when it comes to, like, I'll give you an example. When it comes to Senate Majority Leader Thune refusing to do anything to this parliamentarian, at least saying he is. Now, maybe he'll change his mind and I'll be like, dude, bro, like, now he is part of we. Dude, I would love him to become part of we right now. Overrule this parliamentarian instantly, put the full NFA repeal back into the big, beautiful bill, and then he will be part of us insofar as it comes to this. Now, we will disagree with him on other things. He's probably a terrible swamp creature otherwise. But look, if one of these top Republicans, Vance, Thune, maybe Grassley allegedly, if they can get in there and get this full NFA repeal back in, then of course they're part of we and us when it comes to this. But if they can't, and if they won't, well, they can, but if they won't, I go back to my question I've been asking a lot lately, publicly and privately. But who is we, though? Who is us, though? Because, see, it's always this big thing. And what it's called a false dichotomy. And I get it, because everyone likes to have this, it's us versus them. But what I mean by false dichotomy is who is us, though? And who is them? Right? Like, I'm trying to put it as simply as I can, but it is a rather philosophical topic if you think about it. If we could just get together on something, but who are we? Because, see, here's the thing, and this is where some of you can totally disconnect with me, and that's fine. A lot of you may be big Second Amendment supporters, but you're not a single issue voter. It might be the 10th most important thing to you. The Second Amendment is the most important issue to me by far. Many other issues are also important, but the two-way overrides all of the rest put together. So that's why I vote strictly based on the Second Amendment. And if you go against the Second Amendment, you're not with me. So it's hard for me personally to use the word we or us. Pork Chop Express. It is a clown world. He's got clown in his avatar with a line through it. Says, I'm so tired of loading the bases for Republicans and then them choosing not to score a run. That's exactly what it feels like. They've done it again. They're in the process of it. It's not over yet, but let me take a look at the chat real quick here before I jump off tonight. So you guys know the updates. They're debating it right now. The parliamentarian may or may not let the zero tax compromise through. And real quick question. You guys don't think I'm being mean-spirited about the GOA, are you? Like, I think I'm being very fair. Or do you think I am? Just tell me the truth. I'm really not. I just kind of disagree with some of their messaging right now, and I believe they're compromising. I tell you the stuff that I do approve of that they're doing, the stuff that I'm cheering them on for. But, man, though, when you compromise, it's tough. Now, I hear you. You're a 2A issue voter yourself. Bill of Rights in general. Look, trust me, man, I wasn't questioning your purity at all. It's just like, I get what you're saying, though. Like, if there's not a vote for us, then them, meaning Marxist, and look, the other side are Marxist. They are communists. Yes, that's true. But I'm just getting so tired of less, worse. We're just living in like this. Here's the thing. You know what's actually the best scenario? You hate to think about it this way, but it'd be better right now for us if this doesn't pass, and I hope it does, and there's still a chance it could, and I really hope it does. But if we don't get the full NFA repeal done here, and this big, beautiful crap bill goes through, like Thomas Massie said, they've already crossed out like 8 of the most important things to most of us out of there, right? It's probably better if the Republicans do take a big bath in the midterms and the Dems take over the House real quick. Now, before you all attack me, here's why, though. I'm actually heading somewhere with this. Then nothing will get done. We'll be in gridlock where nothing much will happen at all. That's what always happens when you have a split legislature. Now, stuff will still get done, but you know what I mean by that. Way less will get done. And I'd rather us just sit here and get nothing done in D.C. at all. Because if nothing's happening, they're not screwing you over. And the less that's happening, the less they're screwing you over. So I want you to take what I said in a very small bubble, but it is true if you really think about it. When one power controls it, has the trifecta, and they refuse to go with their party's agenda, they refuse to fulfill their promises, you're actually better off with a split legislature, because at least then you have gridlock. And nothing happens at all. Because if they take out all the good parts of this budget deficit bill, because that's what it's turned into, I think it ends up being about $5 trillion total. It just ends up being a junk bill overall, because they've taken all the good stuff out. Okay, I am trying to be fair. Because like the way a lot of you guys think here, see, I'm being too nice. And a lot of times I am too nice, man. And I get it. Some of you are like, dude, you're too nice. Some people say I'm too mean. I'm just telling you the truth. If I wanted to be more mean, like I'm fully capable of it. But I do acknowledge that GOA's done many good things. And I'm not even going so far as to say I hate him or anything like that. I think I even still like him, okay? But here's the problem, though. I don't like him when they compromise. And if they truly are compromising, then I might not like anymore at all. John 64:22 says, all good, just a lot of frustration. Yeah, that's why I like hanging out with you all and like to give you guys a place to vent. I'm trying to give you some optimism. I think I saw in the chat, I'm not sure if he'll take me up on it or not, but I think he might. I should have Commissioner Jay on just so we can sit back and talk about stuff, because hopefully we can lighten up the mood on the channel again soon. It's just right now, man. He says, all good, just a lot of frustration. Yep, there was a lot of people that came together for the 2A, more than I have ever seen. I know. And that's what's getting me so frustrated right now, but it's not over. See, I keep telling you guys the truth. It's not officially over yet. There is still a chance. And now when I say we, I don't mean political parties. I just mean we, like you that's watching me right now, we, us that actually get it. We could still get a win out of this. We could. See, I know what we means when I'm talking about actual real people. I like real people. Dude, I met so many awesome, like just regular real people doing this channel. That's like the only reason I keep doing it, because I do realize like actually like good people do still exist. When it comes to these creatures up on Capitol Hill, yeah, I have a real hard time even describing it. It's just like this nasty, fictitious. It's actually stuff, though, you read about in the Bible if you think about it. It's actually stuff you read about in the Declaration of Independence, if you think about it. Maybe it's like Thomas Jefferson said nearly 250 years ago, we haven't reached absolute despotism yet. Maybe that's the problem. But I loved seeing all of the people come together on this, man. That was really cool. And it still is. This isn't over yet. I hope it's not over. You guys get it, man. A lot of us we're just sick and tired of this crap, right? Yeah, I agree with you, Doug. Says we keep getting sold out because the Republicans think we are a guaranteed vote. I know. I'm going to read the chat for a minute if you guys don't mind. Appreciate you all being here tonight. We dropped the news a while ago, by the way. And if you just joined tonight, welcome, and go back and rewind. But there's actually a lot of wisdom in this chat. So I'm going to enjoy reading it for a minute, and maybe you guys will as well. Lori DeVries, what's happening, Lori? How you doing? Lori's a good old Michigan gal. I like her. She says, we've accepted compromising under the premise that it's better than nothing. I know. Well, we should have been putting our foot down a long time ago. Yes, ma'am. What's up, Paul Bennett? Oh, you're welcome, man. Thank you. Anthronite, the exile. I'm tired of lip service and being disappointed. Me too, man. Republicans maintain status quo and Democrats drag everything to the left. Seems that way for the last 20 years. No, you're right, dude, for sure. Really like the last 100 years. You guys know the Senate parliamentarian was put in 1935 under FDR. You know, FDR thought he was a king and was going to keep serving forever, right? You guys want a quick history lesson? FDR, Woodrow Wilson's protege. You go back to Woodrow Wilson, you think about the Bolshevik Revolution. This is one of the very first issue currencies. The Bolsheviks took control of Russia during the October Revolution of 1917, establishing the Russian Socialist Federated Soviet Republic, a precursor to the USSR. This undersized note was among the first issues of the new communist government. These were hand cut. This is an original antique piece right here. (1917) Bolshevik Revolution. Started mainly, actually, by the people you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If not, that's okay. I'm not going to digress. FDR's in the administration. He's learning all of his commie ways from Woodrow Wilson. The Titanic sinks. The Federal Reserve comes in. World War I. Income tax. A lot of stuff happened just over 100 years ago, if you think about it. Stuff that wouldn't even be recognizable in the actual United States of America. Fast forward, FDR becomes president. The 19th Amendment's been passed by then. Look, shout out to all my women friends that are watching, but the good women I know where I'm coming from. If the 19th Amendment hadn't been passed, we wouldn't even be talking about this. If you look at the electorate and the way it goes. Franklin Roosevelt becomes president, and he decides he's going to stay on there the rest of his life. National Firearms Act, the New Deal, where we literally started becoming a socialist / communist, because it's the same thing, just different words that trick all the NPCs that don't really understand this stuff. Entitlements, that's when our whole social welfare system started. The Tennessee Valley Authority, look that up. So many things I could rant for hours. I'm trying to keep it brief. World War II. This guy was going to serve the rest of his life. And they had to pass a constitutional amendment to make sure that it couldn't happen again. Because, see, there was precedent set that a president wouldn't run for more than 2 terms. But he didn't care about that. This was a socialist. This was a communist president. This is one of the worst presidents we've ever had. And the man that literally couldn't walk at a certain point, and with the media on their side. Does this sound familiar? See, nothing ever really changes, does it? The more things change, the more they stay the same, actually. The fake news would hide the fact with different camera angles. He was in a wheelchair. His wife was running the country, according to a lot of accords. Actually, when Wilson became, after his stroke, his ailments, his wife was running the country too. Look, these are all birds of the same feather. This has been going on for a long, long time. Set up the welfare state, set up true socialism in this country, and once you give people entitlements, you can virtually never, ever take them back. And he was going to try to stay in office 100 years if he could have. And he's the person that institutes the office of the parliamentarian. See, here's the problem. 1775, it kicked off. It was officially declared in 1776. We fought the British to get away from their monarchy, to get away from the Parliament and the King of England, right? But see, the thing is, though, is look, this is where there's nothing new under the sun, like the Bible says. This has always been, currently is, and always will be a battle of good versus evil, right? And then Bolsheviks occurred, took over and formed the USSR. And then FDR occurred. And that's when it took over the United States. The National Firearms Act was put into place. The parliamentarian was put into place. Sometimes things wax, sometimes they wane. But at the end of the day, the more things change, the more they actually stay the same. I'm hoping this repeal can get put in somehow. Sorry I digress, but maybe some of you enjoyed that little history lesson. I don't know. T-Dub says, I like GOA. It's what the NRA should have been. If they are compromising, I want to believe they know something we don't. I do too, actually. I would say I'd like to be wrong on them, but it's not really yet because I've not completely accused them of anything yet. It's just, it seems like maybe they're compromising right now. But I hope they're not. And hopefully they know some 3D chess behind the scenes that I don't know about. And if they do, and we, meaning we, us here, win, and all the good people like us, I'll come back and be like, okay, GOA is like way smarter than I thought. This was all a 3D chess. It just had to be behind the scenes. Dude, I'm ready, and I'm looking so forward to coming on here and saying that. And I will, too. Remember, if this actually passes, the repeal, that's what I said from the beginning. The repeal passes and Trump signs it, not the $0 tax, that's nothing. That's not a win for me. But I still have it sitting here. Like, I haven't moved it from right off my shelf. I'm going to dye my hair white. I'm going to look just like her. See? I'll even try to make my eyelashes look the same. No, I won't do that. But no, I'm going to spray my hair white just for fun, and we'll do the stream like that. I told you guys like that over a month ago. See, like, I'm being as cynical and sinister as anybody is right now because you kind of need a vent, right? But look, like, okay, my camera's here. I'm only like 2 feet off camera. This is like the closest shelf I have to me. See how close I am? That's literally sat there since the night I promised you guys. I could have thrown it away by now. So I still have some hope of this passing, but it's about that much, you know? No, I'm trying to be pragmatic. Belligerent instigator? I think I'm trying to be pragmatic. I don't know. This is an opinion show. Drew in Oregon. What's happening, man? How you doing? Nice to see you. It says, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Me too. Live life says squandered opportunity. Well, it ain't over yet. I mean, not technically. Yeah, Brandon, I'm with you. We might as well try and get automatic weapons off the NFA right now. Why not? Bobby says, start contacting your House reps again. Look, I did throw that out there earlier as a scenario. This could go back into the House. The House could reject what the Senate's doing. I mean, like, from a legal standpoint, that could happen. I don't know if it will. Let me see if there's any updates here. Make sure you guys are following me on X. I'm going to be streaming on Locals tomorrow night, too, just so you know. All right, let's see here. There could be updates happening right now. That's why I'm checking. Like, this stuff is still going on. Oh, here's this ladder. Have you guys seen the ladder? I almost forgot to go over this ladder. Oh, there's still 200 people watching. Wow. Up in the top left, it tells me how many people are watching. I didn't know that. Here, I'll show you this ladder real quick. This was something where I was kind of like, This is where I've been kind of like suspicious and I'm questioning if there's compromise. It's kind of like this type of stuff and that other post. Okay, so this is a letter that was penned by, and this is just from 2 days ago, the ASA, Gun Owners of America, FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation, NRA, NASGW, and the Fair Trade Group wrote this letter. The American Suppressor Association, Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation, National Rifle Association, National Association of Sporting Goods Wholesalers, and Fair Trade Group strongly disagree with the weaponized procedural maneuvering used by the unelected parliamentarian to block the removal of suppressors and short-barreled rifles from the NFA tax scheme in the One Big Beautiful Bill. I completely agree with that. Let's continue. Unless the Senate chooses to overrule her egregious decision or the majority leader removes the existing parliamentarian, which is well within their rights, I agree, immediate action must be taken to ensure law-abiding Americans are able to exercise their Second Amendment rights without the draconian NFA tax. Well, I believe actually the Second Amendment's for all Americans, actually. Not just the law-abiding. Now, look, if someone's super dangerous and deranged and those people exist, they shouldn't be among us. Look, if you're too dangerous to own a gun, you should not be among us. If you're safe to be on the streets, actually, it applies to all people. And the way it used to work at the time of the founding is if you got locked up, they took your gun when you're in jail, because you can be deprived of property, liberty, or life, even up to that, through due process of law. They can deprive you of your gun through due process of law while you're incarcerated. But the minute they get out of jail, they'd hand them their gun back and they go on their way. If the person was too dangerous, they'd put them in front of a firing squad to make sure they couldn't ever hurt anybody again. It was actually pretty darn simple at that time. So if you're too dangerous to own a gun, you're too dangerous to be among us, because trust me, I'm a total realist, guys. There are psychos out there. There's super dangerous people. There's gangbangers. I don't want any of these people with guns because I don't want them on the streets with us. See the difference there? If you're safe to be on the streets among us in a civilized society, because I do want a civilized society, and I do want law and order, meaning the actual law, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, not all these laws that are repugnant to the Constitution that Marbury v. Madison, by definition, struck down, but yet here we are. No. This whole for the law-abiding citizen, what does that even mean? Do you know how many people forgot to put a comma, okay, on a piece of official paperwork, or they carried the wrong digit or put an extra zero where they shouldn't have, maybe accidentally or maybe even if it was on purpose, okay, that are felons. They're nonviolent. They're still productive members of society. Some of them are really, really good people, actually. Actually, most nonviolent felons I've met are actually pretty good people. Generally speaking, not all. Look, there's all kinds of really bad people too. But those are prohibited people, keep in mind. Right? Misdemeanor domestic violence. Yeah, no one wants a guy that's, beating his wife every night. Yeah, but so many of these, like in the state of Michigan now, you can get convicted of domestic violence without ever even being violent. That's how messed up all this stuff is. Those people are prohibited the rest of their life. So again, I'm not trying to be too sinister, and I get it. Like, I might be too purist for some of you. That's cool, but whatever. It is what it is. Whenever I see that, must be taken to ensure law-abiding Americans. It's like, dude, just remember, guys, when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will own guns. Don't forget that. Because, see, the Second Amendment, here's what it does not say. It does not say the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, comma, for the law-abiding citizen, does it? Do you know how many people are prohibited people from victimless crimes? Actually, it's a lot. And it's really sad. Again, I don't stand for gangbangers. There's people that are truly dangerous, deranged. They shouldn't be among us. Back to that again. It's just, I don't know, man. I'll read the chat and see what you guys think. I should stop dwelling on this topic, I guess. But just whenever you see for the law-abiding Americans, and that is true, though. I mean, look, these laws do only affect the law-abiding because criminals, by their very nature, don't follow laws. Let me continue. And this is where, in my opinion, it's a bit compromising. The next paragraph. Though not the full tax repeal, it should have been, there is still an opportunity to use well-established precedent to lower the NFA's unconstitutional excise tax on suppressors and short-barreled firearms to $0. Our organizations stand united on behalf of millions of law-abiding gun owners and calling on Congress to immediately make this revision. This is a critical step in our fight against the unconstitutional NFA tax scheme and for the rights of all Americans. Look, I agree with much of the letter, but help me try to make sense of this last paragraph. I mean, literally, and then I'm just going to stop reading this crap. But did you guys catch it? So one of you's already like, ooh, wow, I just noticed what he saw. Which is it? Is it the former or the latter? Because in the same paragraph, our organization stand united on behalf of millions of law-abiding gun owners. Then at the very end, and for the rights of all Americans. So who do you stand on behalf of? Is it all Americans or is it the law-abiding gun owner? Which one is it? Because these are not mutually exclusive in many cases. Actually, maybe I read too much. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I just saw a couple things there and I'm like, wait a minute. Is this all Americans or is this the law-abiding? Look, we're all law-abiding until we're not. That's the problem, man. Like, a lot of you guys are like, well, no, like a criminal, like murder. Well, yeah, like I completely agree. Murder should be illegal, obviously. Like everybody agrees with that. At least I would hope so. But you're only law-abiding until all of a sudden you're not one day. All or nothing, no quarter for anti-gunners. Rev says, I had a bad feeling once the NRA got involved, it was going to be scrapped. There's no way the NRA is going to support liberty. Dude, the NRA and all these other groups signed on. Jack Trout, the only way the GOA is playing 3D chess if they are counting on the Supreme Court. That's a gamble and a bad one at that. Dude, I hope they're playing some kind of super duper chess. They're just so much smarter than me. Like, I really hope so, man. I just want this crap to pass. And yeah, I am on here to complain tonight. And I gave you some updates earlier, but this is a place for us all to vent. Okay, I want this venting to be productive where we can lead to productive lives and we can all be a bit happier about this stuff in the future. Not happy about gun control, just happy about our guns in the future. And you know what I'm saying. I don't want us all to be miserable the rest of our life. That's not what I'm here for at all. But I think it is okay to be pissed off. Like, that's not good for your mental health to pretend you're fine with something when you're really not. This stuff's starting on stressful. It's like, dude, I was thinking about going to shoot a couple guns today. I didn't even want to. I'm like, man, this stuff's so much BS. I kind of just looked at guns and went, ugh. Now, that's not going to be long term. I'm not turning anti-gun. But I know a couple of you are kind of the same way. It's like, dude, this is just getting to be some BS. And it is. I hope we end up winning somehow. Last ditch effort. I really hope so. Good night, Dale. Take it easy, man. Yeah, Lori. Quote, terroristic threats is waved around quite easily. I know. What's up, G23? Yeah, people are just now joining. We're just kind of BSing right now. The news part of the content was much earlier in the stream. I probably should be getting ready to go to bed in a minute, but I see some nice people, though, in the chat. Okay, here's some numbers here. Speaker Johnson, right there on the screen, guys. Majority Leader, Thune, Majority Whip. Okay. You guys can pause that if you need some phone numbers and people to call. Oh, Lori, thanks for reminding us. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, guys. Yeah, please. That does help. Because I know a couple people probably did give me a thumbs down. Because, sometimes I get kind of fiery on here. And there's a few people that kind of are like, ooh, this guy's a little bit too shall not be infringed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it does happen, actually. People is like, I was with you at the shall not be infringed, but you just said shall not be infringed. Now I'm out. I mean, it's like, it's weird nowadays, dude. Some people you just like, you don't use as soothing of a tone of voice as they want. 2A EDU, I agree with everything you said, someone told me recently, but you weren't soothing enough. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be soothing. Whatever, man. Like, I mean, I'm here actually to keep all your spirits up. So you're not just sitting there. Here's the last thing that I want. Someone to be sitting at home alone, depressed, being like, man, am I the only one? Like, am I the only one that thinks they get it right now? I'm on here actually to like give you all a place to talk and hang out. It sounds like I want to be a doom and gloomer. I really don't, though. Like, this is doom and gloom right this minute. And I hope the sun comes out tomorrow and JD Vance comes in or whoever and saves the day. I really do. But if it's going to be doom and gloom, I'd rather you guys at least know you're not alone and get some encouragement from each other, right? I got some new X followers tonight. Thanks, guys. What's up, JJ Rainey? How's it going, man? AAC ammo, is it any good? I've had great luck with it. Yeah. Check out my locals post on that. Yeah, man, I've done a full tour of the AAC factory. See that ammo can? I've got components of it from start to finish. I've actually done a couple tours of the AAC factory, believe it or not. Let's see. At HO-HW4GU. What's up, 2A EDU? Haven't been in for a while. Hope you and your family are well. Also hope the bill passes in our favor. Well, thank you. And I hope your family's doing awesome as well. Dude, I hope it passes too. I really do. I really do. Not looking too good for us right now, though. Dude, check this out. I'll show you guys something here. See, tomorrow night over on Locals, I'm going to be showing this and some other stuff. You guys can join for free, or it's a place you can support. See that picture there? Oh, yeah. That's a Yugo RPK 72. And I have one. I just can't show it here on YouTube. What's up, Vince? How you doing? Kurt24, how are you, man? Yeah, the senators are still on there crying and whining right now and fear-mongering. Yes. Yes. You guys do know this, by the way, before I forget. You can go over on my X, and I'm on my locals. I post deals over there. If you guys are shopping at places that sell stuff, I do have affiliate links where you can actually like be a financial supporter of the channel, totally free, just so you know. If you guys want to help be a sponsor of the channel without paying any money out of your pocket when you're buying stuff, make sure you're checking out my locals deals as well as stuff I post on X. Oh, I can show pictures of stuff on screen. I just can't touch. Actually, yeah, showing a picture of me holding it. I mean, that could be a little bit. Hopefully they're smart enough to know, right? Who knows? The AI, the algorithm. Live Life says, Love Life, I'm sorry. Or LV Life. See, here's the problem. Your normal names aren't showing up on the screen anymore. You notice that? Some of you guys have different names for your @ name than you do your regular name, and it makes it hard. See, now it's LV Life, but I thought your name's Live Life. You guys see what's going on, right, with these names? YouTube's messing with all of it. And some of you guys are like, dude, long time no see, and I can't recognize you because they're changing all of your names on here. So one thing you can do, that's not just for this channel, but for all of YouTube, if you make your @name the same as your regular handle, then you'll appear the same, because you guys see what I'm saying, right? Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. If not, it's your names of all, they're using the @name instead of the actual screen name is what's popping up in chat now. Live Life says, no, we're not alone. This is generations of infringements on Americans, damn near a century. Oh, I know, man. I just talked about the Bolsheviks from 1917. Here's something cool, too. I'm going to give you a sneak preview on. I'm going to be doing a video on tomorrow on here. Check this out. You guys familiar yet? This is brand new. You can't get them yet until tomorrow, tomorrow evening. This is going to be pretty cool, I think, because I do have the O-Site S and the O-Site S in green. This is the brand new SE. And dude, that big circle, 2MOA dot 32 MOA circle dot or circle. Dude, I love, like, on these little, like, self-defense guns, like, because this is RMSC footprint. This is for micro compacts. Dude, I love just that circle. But yeah, stay tuned if you guys want to know a little bit more about this tomorrow. That's a commie rifle. It's interesting, though. Yugoslavia, not exactly part of the Soviet Union. Of course not. Not part of the USSR. Not part of the Warsaw Pact, actually. Now, we could get into history of the last 100 years of Yugoslavia, the Balkanization, the unification, the Balkanization of it again. And I actually know quite a bit about the topic, and I could talk about it for hours, but I won't, because it's a complicated topic. Extremely complicated, actually. Okay, I'm still online. Whew. All right. Oh, G23 reviews. It seems like YouTube's picking and choosing what streams to screw up the names on. Yeah. You guys can see it in the chat, right? Is it just me? I mean, you see what I'm posting here. It's like you'll have somebody and their name's like, well, here's a perfect example. DB Cooper. What's happening, man? Longtime viewer of the channel. Tell me if I'm not mistaken, but I remember you just being called DB Cooper. But now you're at DB Cooper 81. Now, I'm still putting context clues for you. But the problem is some people, their name will just be John Smith. And then it says at 123XYZ for their at. It makes me feel bad because some of you are like, dude, bro, like, I've been watching your channel for like 5 years and you always, you don't remember me. Well, first of all, there's a lot more of you than me, but I do remember my regulars. But it's hard because a lot of the people, like, you'll change your avatar and then YouTube's like completely changing your name. So just from my standpoint, no, I have no idea who a lot of you are anymore when you change your avatars from time to time, which is totally cool with me. Like, that's awesome, right? I think DB Cooper used to show a tractor with tracks on it. Am I right? Hopefully you're the same DB Cooper, because again, it's... See, YouTube's always doing something stupid. Oh, it's tomorrow here now. Yeah, no, never mind. I started this on Sunday night. It is now Monday. Okay, tonight I'll be doing my live stream on locals. But man, there's always something. Not a commie rifle that's used for fighting commies. Exactly. No, that one was put together here in America. Oh, thank you, Buddha. Yeah, I do like the M72 RPK. It's a beast, to say the least. He just rhymed. I said beast, to say the least. This channel's getting cooler the later at night it gets. You know what I mean? All right, G23 is going to bed soon, trying to stay up for the whole stream. Yeah, I should jump off in just a second. I need to go get another drink of coffee here and finish putting my tools away, actually. Will this fit your G3C? It depends. Does it take this? Do you have the adapter plate for the Shield RMS footprint? RMS, RMSC? If so, then yes. I think there's a Shield adapter that comes with the G3C Toro. And when I say Shield, I mean like the Shield footprint. There's the Shield RMS and RMSC. They're both the same bolt pattern, just the RMSC is narrower, right? Left to right, as far as the width of the actual optic itself. O-Sight is probably just as bad as O-Light. Question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know, man. You'd have to tell me, but here's my experience so far. I don't have millions of rounds through them. I'm not as tactical as a lot of the guys on YouTube, to be putting like 20,000 rounds. Actually, I'm not. I don't have as much shell deals as they do to be able to afford that many rounds, right? But I will tell you, the clarity of the optic on these, the actual like illuminated part, and the glass is right up there with the best I've ever seen. So the previous versions of the O-Sights, which I have 4 of them now, this is my 5th, they're all rechargeable with the rechargeable cover. And this is a little bit more traditional here. We'll go over the details on this tomorrow in my video. He says, absolutely, 2-8 EDU, great memory. Well, there you go. But you see how it's messing with us, right? Okay, wait, now he's showing up as live life. Okay. F3. He had to throw IJA at the end. Okay. Okay, you know what I'm talking about, though, right? Jay Benner, nice to see you, man. If someone on the chat wants to help fill them in, go for it. I can't repeat everything I've said. The updates were mentioned probably, I don't know, like an hour ago. Okay, if you want to rewind. But basically, I'll sum it up in 30 seconds. The zero tax, in my opinion, compromise, but keeping them on the NFA, that's what's submitted right now. The parliamentarian can still rule that out. They have gotten closer now to pushing this budget bill through, though. Okay, it's getting closer to passing. There's still a little bit of time for someone to either fire or overrule the parliamentarian. Trump is now aware. Trump's aware, and he's rebuking the parliamentarian. If enough political pressure comes on in the next 24 hours, there may still be time. There may still be time to get the full HPA and the SHORT Act in there. What's up, Bill Alexander? How you doing, man? Oh, trust me, the old YT is always up to screwing around with people quite a bit. What's up, Daryl? How you doing, man? Nice to see you tonight. Yeah, see, some people can't stand O-Light. Some people love O-Light. I don't know. I'm waiting to see what happens, to see how excited I'm going to be to vote. I'm thinking about it. You're welcome, Jay Benner. Yeah, that's the real quick version of the updates. Can I explain what type of business I run? Yeah, man, I mow lawns. I do landscaping. I power wash houses, stain decks, power wash and stain decks. Prune bushes, plant shrubs, small trees. I don't know. In the last week, I've been mowing lawns and had a bad windstorm less than a week ago. Had to cut up half of a tree that had blown down across the front of a customer's house. I also stained a deck and replaced one of the rotten boards on it. Did some sanding as prep work, I should say, first. Then replaced one of the boards that was really rotten. Then stained the deck. So, yeah. I kind of do a little bit of everything. I mean, I've been doing this 25 years, my small business here. And oh, do they, Holmes? He says, you don't look Hispanic, LOL. I'm mostly non-Hispanic. Shout out to my Hispanic friends, but no, I'm not Hispanic. Not at all. That's funny. Haven't you guys ever heard of a white landscaper before? Well, geez, in this day and age, has anyone even heard of a white person before? It's not a way. Says about 50% of my comments are shadow banned now on YouTube. Dude, they're so heavy into it. It's like crazy. And sometimes people get the wrong impression that I'm after them. It's like, dude, you have no idea how much they shadow ban stuff. A lot. Try creating on here. And some of you that have channels, you know what I'm talking about. I knew you were just joking with me. But no, you have to say that nowadays. Has anyone ever seen a white person before? I mean, it's, you know what I mean, right? No, not like Hillary Clinton. Oh, geez. Dirty minds. You guys are funny. The Court of Public Opinion 2024. What's happening? Says you need to run for office to EDU. See, here's the problem, man. And this is why we're in this situation. People who probably would do a good job, people who deserve power, usually don't want it. People that want it usually don't deserve it. And I know it's going to sound like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but it is the truth. I probably actually would be a good representative, believe it or not. Would it be enough? Probably not. But I would actually diligently try to make a change. But here's the problem. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. So there you go. And trust me, it's not that I'm lazy. It's not that I'm too lazy to do it. And no, it's nothing to do with that. Dude, I work my butt off. Like, I physically work really hard. And then it's mentally taxing to keep up with all this stuff I do with the channel. And this isn't my business. I mean, literally. You guys know how it goes. And I really, really appreciate it. But I do. Thank you so much. And all of you who are channel members, those of you that have super chatted so many times in the past. But, you know, I've been on here for 2 hours tonight. $5, $10, $15. By the time YouTube takes their take, $10. If you guys had a job and somebody paid you $10 for 2 hours of work, they go to jail because it would be like violate the minimum wage law so much. You know what I'm saying? So this is not how I make my money. And sometimes and thank you guys that left the super chats. Someone's in the chat being like, dude, but I super chatted you. Look, all of you guys kicking in is why I'm still able to barely do this. So don't take this the wrong way, but clearly this is not my living, right? Like it couldn't be. I just wanted to like put it into perspective. You know what I mean? But no, it's one of those whole things where, man, you make a deal with the devil, you might end up getting burned. Really. And I do know some really good people that are into politics. It doesn't corrupt all of them, but it does get to a lot of them. And I appreciate the encouragement, guys, and I do take that as a big compliment. And here's the thing. So first of all, I would probably be good at it. Second of all, I'm not going to do it. But third of all, I don't have the money to get elected. And I'm too controversial. Here's the problem. A guy like me could never get elected because here's why. You either have tons of money and you're rich and you fund yourself. I am not rich. Okay. Could not fund myself. I would literally probably have to like sell a gun just to pay the registration for the paperwork to run. I'm not even joking when I say that. I'm week to week, check to check. The economy sucks right now. Lawn to lawn, somebody pays late. I'm like, oh shoot, hopefully I can get my bills. The economy's terrible in Michigan. This is a terrible state economically. It's a good state with good people in it, but it's a terrible state with terrible things too. It's tough to own a business in Michigan right now. Michigan's a hellhole. So I don't have the money to fund my own campaign. I would get no donations from the RNC. Dude, I beg on the Republican Party all the time. You guys know what I'm saying, right? And that's the problem. You have to be part of that club. It's a big club and you ain't in it. And it's a big club and I ain't in it, right? But I do try to affect things, and hopefully what I do on this channel does have some effect, because that's why I do it. If Brandon Herrera can do it, you can too. Well, I appreciate the encouragement. Thank you so much. That's a huge compliment. But the problem is Brandon Herrera has millions of subscribers. Brandon Herrera makes tons of money. I don't know his personal details, okay? I don't have access to his checking account. It's blatantly obvious. Brandon Herrera makes tons and tons of money, you know? That channel's like 4 million subscribers. This channel's 75,000 subscribers. This channel might get 2,000 views per video. His channel gets almost 1 million views per video. Brandon Herrera makes more money on one video, if I were to opine, than this channel does in like a year. So if I were to opine, in my opinion, because again, Brandon Herrera probably makes more in one day than this channel brings in a whole year. So it's not even close. Like the disparity between this channel and Brandon Herrera is not even in the same universe, actually. These really big YouTubers with millions and millions, they're on like the movie star professional athlete level in many cases. I don't know if you guys know that. Look, this channel is monetized. That's why you guys can leave super chats. I know enough about it, even though you always hear me say this channel is sponsored by all of you, and I'd like to thank the channel supporters. Dude, I've seen for a channel my size what you can get paid to do an ad read. Which if I ever saw one I was really like excited about, I would do it, because like it's capitalism's fine. And it doesn't mean you're a shill just because you're doing an ad read. But I won't do ad reads on cheesy crap that I myself don't really care about. And that's why you don't really see me ever do them on here. I don't know if I have or not. I don't think so. But if you see what they would offer a guy my size for an ad read, then I extrapolate what these big dogs get. And then you look at like, okay, my video might get like $10 in ad revenue. I'm just making up round numbers here. And then there's 1,000 times more views than my video. In some cases, these guys get a couple million views per video. That means my 10,000's their 10,000. And it doesn't take you long to figure it out that there are some guys, not many in the gun community, but there's YouTubers out there, a few in the gun community, that in my opinion, and I have enough insider knowledge where I can do the math pretty close and kind of guess, that are making and bringing in millions of dollars a year. Not just a million, but some of them make millions. So it says, I'm not saying Brandon Herrera makes many millions. I'm not saying that at all. I've never met him before. I'd like to, because I think he's probably like a really, really cool dude. It's just blatantly obvious the dude's making a lot more money than me. But thank you, because that was a huge compliment. Do you guys like my rants when I get off topic late at night like this or not? I don't know. I already gave the news earlier. Drew in Oregon with a generous $20 super chat. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it, dude. And I wasn't begging anyone to come in with a super chat, but I know you meant it to be sincere, and thank you, man. Just thanks for what you do for this community. Well, you're welcome. I appreciate it. I was just giving you the whole thing earlier as I gave you the earlier thing where a guy like Brandon Herrera ran, and like, dude, that was so awesome. And then I was like, yeah, this channel doesn't make what he does. But thank you for the super chat. Although I was not e-backing for super chats, I promise you. But they do help. DB Cooper, that's a great question, actually. And it's actually a pretty easy answer. He says, how did Jamie Thompson get elected? She doesn't strike me as wealthy. Okay, I'll tell you how, basically. I know a lot about how she got elected. She's a good friend of mine. And yeah, it was about a year and a half ago now. I was out there working on her 2006 or 8 or whatever it was minivan in her driveway for her. And then when my car broke down, she let me and her husband use it to drive down to South Carolina a year and a half ago. So yeah, dude, she's not wealthy at all. Blue collar as a days is long. But there's one big difference between me and her. And again, I try to be very clear, guys. There are some good people that are Republicans, and she's one of them, right? She's a Republican. Okay? She's a Republican. I'm not a Republican. Right? And that is a big difference, though. You can't just discount that. And I'll tell you something else about Jamie. She's very likable. She's very nice. She's very smart. She's probably better at it than me, too. I definitely want to throw that out there for sure. And she worked her butt off, dude. She knocked so many doors. She was out there knocking doors, getting to know everybody she could in the whole district. See, a lot of you guys know who I am online. How many of you actually live in Michigan's 28th district? So you have to remember that. You could literally live like, dude, I only live 5 miles away from you in Monroe, you might say. Still wouldn't be able to vote for me. That's one district over, right? I own a small business, right? You can't just stop working your small. When I say small business, like I'm the only one small business, my wife and I, right? So when I say small, I mean that small, okay? Like me, my wife does help me with one big account. Other than that, it's literally only me doing 100% of the work. And the account she does is a big one, and it takes her all day. So I'm not dismissing. I'd have to quit my business to do that. Literally. And yeah. So being a Republican is different than going in there saying, I just want to stick up for the Constitution. I just want to stand up for the 2A and screw these parties and all this insider crap. That does not, I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Hopefully that answers your question. And I want to emphasize one more time. And she's probably better at it than me and did a better job running. And I won't do it in a million years. I'm just going to give you a hypothetical. If me and her were to run head to head in the primary, she'd probably beat me. But she's probably a better candidate too. So I definitely want to say that. Yeah, most of them are already multimillionaires. That's true. That's true. On the federal level, correct. Correct. Oh, geez, you guys don't have to do this, but I do appreciate it. I got a couple more super chats that just came in. Poor Man's Gold with a $20 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. Says, appreciate the time you spend gathering the information that is discussed. Well, you're welcome, man. Thank you. I appreciate the support, and we'll get through this together, guys. I want to get a video out soon on Ted Nugent and his snafu with Michigan State Police and everything in the Michigan Capitol. I do want to get a video out on the Serbian firearms and ammo export ban. There's just stuff in my queue. I need to get this video posted tomorrow. It's just there's so much happening right now, and it's been 90-something degrees out, and it's been raining off and on, and I've been chasing my tail, and I still have one lawn tomorrow to cut from last week. So I have been working hard. I'm glad some of you noticed, but a lot of it just seems like I'm spinning my wheels. It's like it's the weather, and then it's all this crap going on. Vince Metzger. See, now yours says at V Metzger. So the names switch up. Channel member and a super chat. Thanks for the $10, man. He says, thanks for the updates and discussion over the past few days. Much appreciated. Well, you're welcome. And then thank you for supporting the channel, man. I appreciate it. If you ask him, will he do interviews with me? Who is he? Who is he? Who's your senator? Are you talking state senator? You can just literally go to the Michigan Senate webpage, type in Michigan Senate in Google. It should get you right there, and then you can put your address in to find your senator. Because there are 38, well, there's currently 37 Michigan senators because Gretchen won't hold a special election, and there's a huge, like, couple 100,000 people, a huge section of people with no senator in Michigan at all right now. But yeah, I have had senators on this channel before, a couple of them actually. I think 3 that I've done videos with. Am I missing some? Yeah, I can think of 3 senators right off the top of my head that I've done videos with on the channel. I know, Hunter. Political parties are probably one of the worst things to happen in the country. George Washington warned about them. I know. I know he did. I will tell you this. 3 Michigan senators did vote for the so-called bump stock ban that bans a lot more than just bump stocks. Trust me on that. Changing your party affiliation. Yeah, in Michigan, you don't have like a party affiliation. We have a open primary where you can just walk right up there and you can just pick to vote the Democrat ballot or Republican side. You know, that's so in Michigan, but some states are like that for sure. Let's see. CHRIZ New, Chris New says, at least I can trust my senator. Kevin Kramer helped originally write the bill and still 100% supports the full original HPA. That's awesome, man. That is. Good to hear you have someone like that in the Senate on your behalf. That's good. Dude, Ted was M. Gabriel. What's happening, man? What's happening? Long-time viewer of the channel says Ted was ready for the Wango Tango in the Capitol. Oh man, I listened to Uncle Ted's whole testimony. He was off and on throughout this whole hour-and-a-half hearing. And he may have done something to get the ire of Lori Pohutsky. Does anyone remember who she is? It's from Michigan. And the Michigan State Police. Uh-huh. Dude, I'm like so out of coffee. It's not even funny. I hear you. Premium cracker. The elimination of $200 tax stamp is a joke. Most retailers are paying this tax stamp to get people to buy suppressors. I know, because the gun market's like so down right now. Like down in the toilet. All right, I'm going to check one last time, excuse me, to see if there's any new updates. Because this stuff is going on in the middle of the night. Make no mistake about that. They're probably still in session right now, as far as I know. Don't see anything quite yet. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. There's several different options here. Trump is starting to publicly get on the parliamentarian for whatever that's worth. Right now, it's just been dummied down to a $0 tax, but I don't even know if that's going to stand either. Right? All right. Well, I'm going to jump off here and get to bed because I do have a lot to do tomorrow. And it was good to see all of you. Yes, they are still in session. See, I thought they were. Ted Nugent has several homes in several states, and he is deputized. Yes. And I just saw a super chat coming at the very last second there. Let's see here. Karar Hussein with a $5 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Thanks for supporting the channel, guys. All of you, the many ways you do. And nice having the talk with all of you and hanging out at 182QK FTW, another longtime viewer of the channel. Nice to see you. Thanks again for the super chats. I appreciate you guys. Court of Public Opinion. Good night. Good night, Buddha. Bookkeeper. You might be onto something with that. The Supreme Court wants to justify the registration that it supports proving each item as a tax paid. If they lose the tax, the registration requirements no longer have any standing. That may be a good court case, actually. It may be. Could take a long time too, right? All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.